Hello, welcome to Wellness Lady TV, where we are inspiring you to create a happier and healthier life, home, and business, one small step at a time. I'm your host, Carla Clayton, the Wellness Lady, and I am so excited to have a guest today, a very good friend of mine, Daphne Boothe. So welcome.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yay. Awesome. So I'm really excited to dive into your story. But before we do that, I want to just ask you, what does wellness mean to you?
So I feel like wellness is like that question is a little bit loaded because there are, to me now, so many different aspects to wellness. I used to think it was just about what you ate. That was wellness. Were you eating well? That was wellness. And what I'm realizing now in my later adult years and now this chapter of being a mom, wellness is physical, mental, spiritual. It is definitely what I'm eating, but it's also how I'm taking care of myself. If I'm doing my, preventative doctor's appointments, if I'm taking my vitamins, if I'm being physically active. So it's lots of things to me.
Awesome. That's a really good explanation. And it's a very holistic approach. So I want to take a minute and just share with our listeners how we met. So when I moved to St. Petersburg 5 years ago.
I can't believe it's 5 years.
Right, yeah. In Georgia, I was a Rotarian, a member of the Rotary Club in Georgia. And so I was looking to continue with a club here in Florida. So I looked up and there's lots of clubs in St. Petersburg. I think there's 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I found the one that Daphne was the membership director for. And they had this awesome approach that was very different from traditional Rotary clubs. And so it really attracted me. So as I was coming down here looking for a place to live, we met a few times and connected. And I joined the club and we continued to carry on and develop a friendship and then actually become partners in business as well. And so
who would have ever thought?
Who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought? So let's talk a little bit. I really want to dive into your story about how you came up with your business, Happy Healthy Mamas.
Okay, so I think I have to give you a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
So I grew up in New England, came down to college here in St. Pete and never left because I fell, much like Rotary, I fell in love with the community here. And eventually, so I worked as a coastal scientist for the federal government, had a great career, worked with wonderful people, doing important work. It was hard, but I loved it. Then I met my husband and we got married, and he works kind of a non-traditional job. He works on ships. So he has a very unique schedule. It is not a 9-to-5 schedule. He'll work for a couple of months and then be home for a couple of months, gone for a couple of months, home for a couple of months. For anybody that knows me, I'm a very independent person. So that was like kind of fun for me. Like when he's home, it's great. And then when he's gone, I've got all of these other things projects that I can work on, Rotary, etc.
Right.
So that was all great until we decided to have our daughter, and that was like a pivotal moment for us in our lives together. And, for anyone that's a parent out there, it's the most magical, amazing thing that, instantly changes your world. And it did for us. But what I found out very quickly was coming out of maternity leave, it became really challenging for me to juggle it all. And parent or not, I think it's hard to juggle it all. If you are trying to take care of yourself, take care of your finances, take care of your work, take care of your home, all of that's a lot of work. And for me, adding on being a good parent was a challenge. And so all of a sudden I was faced with my husband shipping back out to sea and me solo parenting. And solo parenting is hard. Parenting is hard. My phrase recently has been, if you're doing a good job, parenting is hard. And even if you're not doing a good job, parenting is hard.
So true.
So I was trying to balance being a good mom, being a good wife, being a good employee, because I loved my work, and also taking care of myself. And I worked for an incredible workplace, and we tried to make adjustments that would accommodate my kind of changing schedule and responsibilities. And what I found was it was still really hard and it just wasn't enough. And that's when you and I really became close friends and started talking more candidly about life. And I am embarrassed to admit this, but as a coastal scientist, I should have been able to figure this out, but I was getting really bad headaches. And you, over a cup of tea one day, we were just chatting about it and I was talking about it with you. And you pointed out to me that it may be a factor in my life already that was causing these headaches. And we eventually figured out in that conversation that it could have been my cleaning products. And so you actually introduced me to some awesome non-toxic cleaning products. And the reason I'm embarrassed is I'm a scientist. So like I should have been able to cause and effect, should have been able to put together that my headaches were setting in usually between 1 and 2 hours after cleaning my house.
Wow.
But I didn't make that connection on my own. So
because you believed all
well,
the marketing,
I followed the
right?
marketing and truthfully, I was choosing the least harmful of the products on the supermarket shelves.
Right.
But being the scientist, now that I've kind of dove into ingredient labels and reading and research, oh my goodness, the stuff that is in our everyday products that we are sold as being green and clean and safe. And again, I think becoming a mom changed things for me because for whatever reason, like it was okay for me to use some of these products, but not for my baby.
Right.
Like my baby, it needed to be, you know, safe and free of all the harmful stuff. And so, you know, transitioning a little bit, you asked about the business. So I wound up basically using products and changing the health of my family and found other moms that had the same challenges, other moms that were interested in figuring out how to balance it all, figuring out how to take care of their families, figure out how to find products that they could trust. And so I just kind of started sharing my story with people and eventually realized that there are a lot of moms in this situation that don't know who to go to, don't know who to trust. The mom journey can actually be filled with a lot of judgment of do this, not that. And how dare you as a parent do this technique? Maybe it's talking about discipline or nursing or care of your child. And I just desperately, it's a hard enough journey. I just desperately wanted to create a community of people that supported one another. So that's where Happy Healthy Mamas came from. We kind of call ourselves a tribe of happy, healthy mamas where we're just trying to provide support. So it's online, it's in person, it's pick up the phone, it's do play dates together, it's all of that. But it's this community of people, just moms supporting moms. Life can be hard enough.
Excellent. Wow. So there's a lot, and I love that you've expanded this. So it's not just in St. Pete, because you do have the online community as well. Wow.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. I remember it was at a Rotary Club meeting.
I know the story you're going to tell.
I was sitting at a table a little bit further down, and I was just hearing, you know, the conversations that were going on at the other end of the table. And it was that time where your maternity leave was running out and you were facing going back to work, and you were telling the other moms, you were like, it's not fair that you have to make this choice, that you have to leave your child and find another caregiver for them so you can go to work to pay for the child caregiver. And you're like, you were saying, I just wish there was another way. There should be another way. And I was listening and I was like, well, there is. But I knew that wasn't the time to say it. So we had that conversation later. We scheduled another tea. And do you want to talk a little bit about that and kind of the transformation that you've been through in where you were then and where you are now?
Yeah. So I think I am like many women where I think I'm superhuman and I can do it all. Right. And so there's this expectation in society that you can be an amazing mom, an amazing employee, amazing wife, perfectly clean house, like all of that. Right. And that was what I felt like I was supposed to do. And so coming out of maternity leave, not every mom is going to be like me. Some moms can't wait to get back to work because that's how they're fulfilled, is having balance between work and home. I love that.
Right. Absolutely no judgment.
No,
to
and
women
I
that love working
and
outside.
I didn't know how it was going to feel for me to come out of maternity leave, because I might have been ready to jump back into work.
Right.
What I realized in maternity leave is that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That I wanted to be home more with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And, my husband has a non-traditional schedule, and you showed me an opportunity that provided a non-traditional business opportunity that I could do in the nooks and crannies of life. And that's why I was so drawn to partnering up with you, because of the freedom it gave me, the flexibility it gave me. I am not an amazing stay-at-home mom. I need stuff outside of just, playing with puzzles on the floor of our house. So I love having a business that works around my schedule and I'm in control of it. It's the first time I've ever been a business owner, and there's something really exciting about it. I have a terrible boss, but there's a lot of freedom. I mean, that I'm the boss, right?
Right.
That I'm the terrible boss.
That's our biggest struggle, right? When you own your own business, you are your own boss. That is a great thing, but it can also be a liability.
Really hard.
Yeah. Because sometimes we don't work hard enough. Yep. Or sometimes we work too hard. So finding that balance.
So for people that are watching, they're probably like, well, what is your business? So my business is helping moms take simple actions towards living simpler, greener, and healthier lives. And we do that through our support system, our communication, taking care of one another. We do align ourselves with the brand partner Shaklee, because Shaklee has all of these tools and toolkits to simplify. So that is my daily life. And so I simply share what works for me and my family. Whether you use the tools or not, here's a system basically that works for me that may work for others in similar circumstances.
Right. So you went back to work.
I went back to work. Oh yeah. So I did come off of maternity leave and went back to work for about 1.5 years. It was hard. There's no way around it, because my husband was gone half the time. No judgment, Eric. I love you. And I know you're passionate about your job, which I support that. And I admire that actually in him. But while I was at work, I began to think about what could life look like not there doing something else. And then I began to work on that dream piece by piece, basically building block by building block, and kind of built a business. It was a little bit of a hobby starting on, because I had limited time, and then slowly ramped up to make it a business. And that's when many moms started to confide in each other. This is really hard being a mom, whether you're working full time or not, whether you're, pursuing your dreams or not. When you're in it being a mom, it's hard. And so we've kind of aligned ourselves, and that's what we do, is support one another.
So I know a lot of moms out there, they ask the question, because it's like you said before, you think as women, we see this image of being able to do it all. How do you balance motherhood, a business, being a wife? How do you balance all that?
So I love this question, because I don't have a perfect answer, and anybody that has a perfect answer is probably lying to you or to themselves. Some days, like all women, I feel like I've got it. My to-do list is clear. Like I know exactly what I need to get done. My daughter's behaving and is playing along with whatever we need to do. I feel like I'm present for the fun play moments, and I'm able to squeeze in the work and get it done and make it all, my little Tetris game, all work out. And then other days I just throw up my hands and say, you know what? My job today is to keep my tiny human alive. And sometimes that's okay. And I pour myself another cup of coffee and say, that's what we're going to get accomplished today. So my big take home for someone that's trying to figure out how to juggle it all is, you have to figure out what are the non-negotiables for you. Yeah. So for me, it is making sure my daughter is taken care of. Like that's more important than my business. Yeah. Secondly, or maybe on the same level, it's taking care of me, because if I don't take care of me, I can't take care of her. And so one of the things that I do every day, I call it my peaceful 15, which sounds a little bit cheesy, but I get up early every morning before my house is awake, and I have 15 minutes of me time. And everybody's got 15 minutes. Even if you get up at 4 a.m., you can probably get up at 3:45 to knock it out. But these 15 minutes to me help dictate how my day goes. You absolutely can tell when I've not had my few minutes in the morning. And in that 15 minutes, typically I'm just doing a little bit of breathing. I'm not great at meditation. It's something I'm working on, but I'm trying. So I usually just take a few deep breaths to just breathe. I usually write in my gratitude journal just a few things I'm grateful for, because I find that if I start the day with some positivity and intentionality, that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do some stretching. Sometimes I read a book. That 15 minutes is how I want to spend my time. If I don't do that, I find that I'm like starting the day harried and rushed and frantic. Sometimes that 15 minutes is 5 minutes of me taking care of me and 10 minutes of me figuring out, what do I want to get done today?
Mm-hmm.
What is the thing that in order to get to tomorrow is a thing that I want to put my energy behind? So my 15 minutes fluctuates, but that's been a game changer for me.
Awesome. I think that's a lot of good tips for our listeners to maybe try to incorporate.
Rachel Hollis, for anybody that's looking for more inspiration than Daphne, Rachel Hollis is a great one. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram, and she's got a whole workbook on how to set up a morning routine that works for you.
So you're a very busy lady, and tell us about, like, what do you do that one change I really encourage people to do, which is breakfast? How do you manage breakfast?
So that's easy, because I don't like cooking breakfast, like at all. Don't ever come to my house for breakfast unless you want a smoothie, because that's what we do almost 100% of the time. And my daughter's on board with the smoothie making. So we'll do like a green smoothie or a fun, crazy smoothie or a smoothie bowl, but it's a smoothie, because I don't want to have to really think about it. And my smoothies involve digging into my fridge and freezer and going to my protein shake, and done and done. And my daughter's happy because she can be involved with it. So that's a fun one for me, because we get to do it together. So
right. And that is such an important tip when you're trying to help children eat healthier, is getting them involved in making it. And it changes everything about their attitude about the food. So tell us a little more. What is a smoothie bowl? How do you make a smoothie bowl for your daughter? How did that come about?
So full disclosure, I Googled it.
Okay.
Had to Google it, because I was like, what is a smoothie bowl that everybody's doing? Basically, you just use less liquid. Okay. So if you use a cup of milk or coconut milk or water when you make your smoothie, use a half cup, and use some frozen veggie, you use frozen veggies, we do, or frozen fruit. And it just is a thicker consistency. So instead of drinking it or using a straw, you're eating it up.
You put it in a bowl, you eat it with a spoon, but you can also cut up and top it with like some bananas and berries or something like that. You can do
granola, you can do berries, you can do chia seeds, you can do hemp seeds, you can do all of this yummy, delicious stuff that will kind of sit on top and not be quite like you're drinking your meal. So if you need a break.
It makes it fun.
Yep.
And it's just as easy as making a bowl of cereal.
Oh, yes.
So
and
you can
better
give
for you.
a lot more nutrition to yourself and your children by doing that.
And we do a lot of sneaky greens. So I sneak in a lot of things to smoothies that my daughter probably wouldn't. She's not going to eat a bowl of spinach. We're not there yet.
Right.
But I can put a bowl of spinach and she won't know the difference in a smoothie. So
exactly. I used to do that with my kids. They didn't like green beans or something. So I would puree the green beans and then I would put them in like the spaghetti sauce or in a meatloaf or something like that. That's
Sneaky mom.
That's right. So thank you so much for sharing all these tips and helping us to learn a little more about you and how you balance, all that you're juggling and admitting, and I think that's such an important thing. And I'm glad that you brought out is there are some days you really don't have it together and it's okay. And that's where having a tribe of support, some other moms, whether it's one best friend or a couple of friends or a community like Happy Healthy Mamas, where you've got someone you can reach out to, is such an important important thing, that the message I wanted to share with our listeners today.
Yep.
So where can people find you and your business?
So on Facebook, you can go to Happy Healthy Mamas LTD. So that's a great place.
What does LTD mean?
Living the dream.
Aha.
LTD, living the dream.
Okay.
So you can find us on Facebook. You can find me personally on Instagram under Freedom, Flexibility, Purpose, or Happy Healthy Mamas.
Okay.
Yep. And then on Facebook, Daphne Boothe.
Awesome. Very good. So thank you so much for coming
Thanks
in.
for having me. This is so fun.
I think it's been a lot of fun. And I think we're going to really have some moms that are really going to resonate with the message today. So I want to thank you all for tuning into the show today. I would love to hear from you. So be sure to leave your comments and your questions, and like my page, subscribe to my channel, and have an amazing and wonderful day today.